So in today's stream, they decided to go over a lot about Freddy and to clarify things because there was a lot of outrage that happened over what was discussed in last week's stream, and that was because people took the potential changes to Freddy literally and not these are potential. Even in my video, I said they were potential changes and not set in stone. So just remember when you're watching these streams and they're talking about changes in the game that are not in the patches or not being implemented yet, that these are just them sharing their thoughts with you and sharing what their ideas are and sharing what they are testing. But it's not set in stone unless they say 100% this change will be in the game. Like some of the things they discussed today, they said this is in the patch that's releasing today, this will be in the game. But then for other stuff, they were like, we are testing this, do not expect this to happen. So I just want to help clarify that not everything they say on stream is 100% going to be implemented unless they clearly point it out. So because of all this outrage against Freddy and the changes they talked about last week, we do not get to see anything about the Wraith Cube really, which is a sad thing because I was really excited for it. Anyway, let's get on with it. So, MLGA is officially off the good list. They are no longer supporting MLGA, it is no longer whitelisted. It's a use at your own risk policy now. Now the reasons for this is that they basically heard a lot of outcry about the blocking part of MLGA, and they said that they have an in-game ping indicator now, so MLGA is no longer needed. They know that there is some discrepancy in their in-game ping indicator and how it is inaccurate at times, but regardless, MLGA is no longer safe to use. It is something you could get banned for now because it is a third-party program, and I would recommend no longer using MLGA. It was good while it lasted, but it has come to a sad end. Moving on to changes in the game. So in the patch that will come out today, they are saying that these changes will be in it. The needle and thread surgical sutures have been buffed. Apparently there was something off with the numbers originally, so they adjusted those numbers to make them more effective. So now it will be a flat 3% and 5% skill check increase. So the yellow item will be the 3% increase, and then the green surgical suture will be the 5% increase. Additionally, they realized that there was an important piece of information missing from medkits, and that was medkits only heal others faster, not yourself. This has always been in the game, it's just the text wasn't there. So if you were unaware, medkits do not heal you faster, they only heal your friends faster. But if you have self-care on, or botany knowledge, the efficiency will be better if you are self-healing yourself with a medkit. They have fixed the generator break animation, so as many of you know, when Freddy broke generators, it sounded like he was breaking a pallet. That has been fixed. And then they also said, I guess, Freddy will now appear when checking lockers. So I don't know if this is only if he finds someone in a locker, or if it's at all times. But I assume it is at all times. And then they said they added a put to sleep animation when he checks the locker. So I assume it's if he checks the locker and someone's in there, he will do a sleep animation before he grabs them or something. So you're not immediately pulled into the dream world, I guess. It wasn't super clear, but that's how I took it. And they haven't released the patch notes yet, so I'm just theorizing. Okay, so they also said when you fail healing skill checks, there will be blood now in the nightmare. So if you fail a healing skill check and you're in the dream world, I guess there will be a gush of blood that like shoots out of you. Potentially, this is for all healing skill checks, not only in the nightmare. But again, I'm not sure. He's said on stream that it was only in the nightmare, which seems kind of odd to me, but whatever. And now we have the nightmare changes. So they buffed his terror radius. It used to be 16 meters, now it is 24 meters. They said they did this because Monitor and Abuse on Freddy would reduce that 16 meter terror radius to 8 meters, and they wanted survivors to have a better chance of juking Freddy in his own terror radius, so that is why this has been increased. They also increased the size of the lullaby sound to 24 meters, so it's the same as his terror radius. They have also added a sleeping survivor UI, so it is easier to tell if someone is asleep, and you do not have to wake up survivors in the dying state. Once they are healed to injured, they will automatically wake up. During the dream transition time, Freddy blinks in and out twice with a time delay of 1 second. It is a set sequence, so keep that in mind when Freddy has dreamed you. It's a set sequence of in, out with a delay of 1 second. When Freddy puts someone to sleep, you get a 3-second slowdown, and if you put someone else to sleep, the cooldown is refreshed on that slowdown. So if you hit 2 people, bam, bam, 3 seconds after you hit the second person is when the slowdown will come off of you. Adrenaline has seen a change this patch. It now wakes up people when triggered at all levels, and they also made it so Adrenaline, what it does is basically exactly the same at all tiers. So, you instantly heal from injury or from dying state and sprint at 150% your normal running speed for 5 seconds when the exit gates are powered. Adrenaline is on hold if you are disabled at the moment it should take effect, and will activate when freed. So basically the only difference between Tier 1 Adrenaline, Tier 2 Adrenaline, and Tier 3 Adrenaline is the exhaustion cooldown timer, which will be 60, 50, and 40, as always. Then they want to talk about Remember Me, and they are not going to be changing Remember Me this patch. What they said is that when they discussed having a downside to it, they were thinking that it was a frustrating perk for survivors, and they wanted to change it in a way that would keep the obsession in the game. That's why they want to change the perk. But they saw the negative feedback to it and everything, and so they said they are not changing it this patch, but they are definitely going to be changing it in the future and are playing around with those potential changes at the moment. Blood Warden will also be seeing a change sometime in the future, but not this patch, because they just have acknowledged some of the problems with this perk, such as it isn't really clear when Blood Warden is activated to the killer, and so it's hard for the killer to tell like how much time they have left before the gates are opened up to the survivors after it activates. So they want to change up Blood Warden so that it gives the killer better feedback on when exactly it activates. And they also want to make it so Blood Warden will affect the hatch along with the exit gates. So that way it completely blocks off escape for everybody, and you can't use your key to escape if the exit gates are blocked. Next up, they answered this question. Someone asked, why is the lullaby not directional? Well, basically, he just told the people watching the stream how to play against Freddy. He said basically pay attention. If you hear the lullaby, you know he's coming, so that means you have to start moving, and you have to think ahead of what the killer is thinking. Like if the killer is checking all the lockers in an area, well, you know if the killer's checking the locker, his vision is locked onto that locker, and you can probably maneuver around him. He said pay attention to the sounds, pay attention to crows, pay attention to grass moving, gens breaking, pallets breaking. Just be more aware of your surroundings in order to know where Freddy is. And I myself do this, and I have juked plenty of Freddys without even being able to see them. It is very easy to just pay attention to footsteps, crows, grass moving, gens breaking, and avoid Freddy's. Plus, you have to keep in mind Freddy is in the dream world at all times, and that dream world is super foggy, guys. So, it could be a lot harder for him to see. They talked a little bit about killer lunge distance, and like some people were saying, oh, Wraith's lunge distance doesn't feel as big as Hag's lunge distance, and he basically explained that it's because of the camera angle. Since Hag is a shorter killer, it looks like her lunge is farther when it's really not, and since Wraith is a taller killer, his lunge distance is the same distance as Hag's, it just looks shorter because he is taller. And they also discussed some things about killer lunging, like if the killer swings at a survivor and it detected a survivor in the hitbox or an object in the hitbox, the game would automatically switch to the blood wipe animation or hitting an object animation, and they want to adjust that so that when you lunge hit a survivor, your weapon actually follows all the way through before you do the blood wipe. And if you hit an object, then you automatically go on the, I guess, failed attack cooldown, is how they explained that. They said that there's going to be a lot of map adjustments in this patch, and then they are also rolling out a fix for loss of progress this patch, and they're only going to do it for some players. Basically, these are going to be testing the loss of progress fix for a portion of the population. And if this fix is successful and works and those people do not lose anything, then it will go global for the entire population, and hopefully no one will ever lose a save file ever again. Next up is this beautiful roadmap showing the Freddy changes, which is going to be this patch coming out later today. Then they have the Wraith Cube next, but they said the UI improvements might come before the Wraith Cube. And then after that, we have the badge update, or emblem update, as they called it on stream. So those are what you have to look forward to. And then they just went on to general issues here. So they said they have the loss of progress fix on all platforms. Then they have connect to online servers. Some people have been having connection issues lately. I know I was having connection issues a few days ago. It was kind of weird. One gate on Nazarov again, testing that out. And then the fat shaming spots are the spots where survivors can pass through areas, but the killers cannot. Apparently there's a lot of these spots on preschool, but those are gonna be fixed really soon. Then we got our top 5 PC bugs. Got, issues with sound and stuff. We're gonna live forever not working properly. Save the best for last not working properly. For the DirectX 11 and W8 issue, or Windows 8, they said update your operating system and it will be fine and will work. So that is up to you to do. It is not something they can fix on their end. Just update your drivers and stuff and the game will work fine. And then they're investigating shack pallet issues where the pallet stands up straight or when the pallet gets people stuck inside of them. And they also said that you killers, if survivors get stuck inside that killer shack pallet and you leave them there, and it's an exploit and you could get banned for that. So example Queen gave on stream was that she was in a game, 2 survivors, her and another survivor, got stuck in the killer shack pallet, and the Myers basically got his free Evil Within 3 off of them, and then killed them, obviously. So don't do that. Don't exploit things in the game or else you will get banned. So, yeah, be a good person. Don't abuse stuff. Then the console issues. Top 5 bugs. We got rank reset. They are still looking into FPS. They're still looking into useless splinters. They are going to remove the splinters that basically don't do anything when you burn them. And then apparently some people cannot get the Where Did They Go trophy They said that the person who opens the hatch doesn't earn the achievement, but everyone else does. They are looking into that. And then pallet positioning is a little buggy on maps. This is, again, pallets that spawn straight up and down, and you can't really run through them, and they're really buggy. But they're looking into that. And next up, we have the Q&A. Now, I usually don't go over Q&A, but Q&A was super short this stream because they were running low on time, and there was actually some really important questions asked, so I will only go over the super important questions. First question, Evil Within Stalking sound effect isn't playing anymore. So this is a bug, and they looked into it to see how this affected Myers' gameplay, and what they found is that it did not really make him super OP, and they are thinking of actually keeping this in the game, because with stealth killers such as Freddy and then Wraith being reworked, they want Myers to be equally stealthy. So they are thinking about it, okay guys, not 100%. They are thinking of keeping this in the game where you do not get notified Myers is stalking you, because as a survivor you have that third person camera, you can look around, you can see Myers, okay? There is no way Myers can see you and you can't see him. So they are like, just be more aware of your surroundings and you won't get stalked by Myers. So someone asked a question about them reworking flashlights, specifically for the purpose of the insta-blind flashlights. So before they went into the change for this, they first explained how they work. So the add-ons for flashlights right now increase blind duration and blind speed. The add-on that tremendously increases blind time, so the tremendously increase the flashlight beam effects against the killer, increases these effects by 25%. And this is how long the killer is blind, by the way. They said that the killer only has 1 second before they get blinded by a survivor who has the right add-ons. And this basically has no counterplay to it. 1 second is not enough time for the killer to react and avoid the flashlight. Now, the biggest problem with the insta-blind flashlights is that a survivor can blind a killer picking up another survivor. Because when the killer is picking up somebody, they are locked in that animation and they cannot move. So the survivor with the insta-blind flashlight can get in position and instantly blind the killer before he is able to move and make him drop the survivor. This is the biggest problem that most people have with the insta-blind flashlight, because the killer can absolutely do nothing except for get blinded or make sure he downs that survivor in an area with a lot of walls or objects. You said you could put on Lightborn, but really, even then, Lightborn doesn't always help you that much. So in the Wraith Cube, they are going to be removing... Well, okay. Potentially, guys. These are the changes they are thinking of doing. These will not be in the game, for sure. They are thinking of removing the blind quickness to the flashlight add-ons. So all flashlights would basically blind in a similar way. The only add-ons that you could put on them would be like increasing range, increasing blind duration, but they are thinking of completely removing the increased blind speed. Again, this is potential, it is being tested, it is not 100%, it may not even be in the game, okay? Just know that they are planning on reworking flashlights in the Wraith Cube that is coming soon. Now, they did tell us one thing about the Wraith Cube, and that is Wraith can kick gens and open lockers while invisible. They were like, if Freddy can do it, why can't Wraith? So that's good to know. No longer having to decloak to kick a gen would be really nice. And then they just added this one last thing onto the end of the stream. They knew they said they would talk about the Wraith Cube, But that was before this entire Freddy issue became this huge thing, and they had to address it to calm people down and clarify what was said last stream, that those were potential, not set in stone. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope this gave you a good recap of the stream. As always, good luck out there in the fog, and see you next time.